We go live because
I'll go live on mine too.
great.
Oh my God, last week we had I had 400 something just on mine.
Yeah,
I
there's
was
a lot of
like,
interest in what's
wow,
going
big
on right now.
interest. That's okay. I'm gonna
The
just
meeting is
go
being
live.
live streamed. Got it. We might be on even already.
I don't either. Welcome to my world. I never have a signal back here. And Ennis has tried everything under the sun. And actually the building next to us, they complain about it too.
I get all my
It's
bars.
terrible. We're good to go.
All right, good. Hey,
Welcome
Yeah,
to
welcome to the
another
green
green
room.
room, everybody.
so it's funny, Ruta, because everybody knows, of course, the therapeutic nature
Oh
of the
God,
green
this
room.
is
I know.
100% our
And then,
therapy.
this Monday, Tuesday, we discuss what's going to go on with the green room. And listen, it's good to be back. I feel like I should be holding my phone like this because that's what
yeah,
I've done
'cause
for
you
the
were
past 2
doing-
weeks.
It's true from Georgia.
No,
to
listen,
Tennessee.
time is a crazy, crazy thing in 2022.
It's a time warp.
It is in every phase
so
of
good.
living, but of course, it's been a crazy couple weeks, and
Yeah. Oh,
here I am. It's good to be back, in person in the green room. But my point is, we always sit down on Monday and Tuesday, and we do our usual talk, and we look for the topic of the green room. And it's funny. If you look behind us, of course, there are the top secret documents. Exactly. Because the green room always emanates, politically, of course, and then we are the green room, so we always get it into some degree of cannabis talk. But the OMMU, of course, throwing the wrench that it did into all of our lives. Not that we needed something else.
I know.
What else can we do? So
ground.
here I am driving up to, and listen, I've never been there, the beautiful mountains of Georgia and that Blue Ridge area. It's nice. I'm not so sure I'm a mountain guy though. You're down there on the road, and then by the time you get all the way up here, it's like about 15 minutes later, which is kind of funny.
It is
But the piney smell and all that, the mountains are
I
nice.
like the mountains. Like once a year, I like the mountains.
Once a year, I can see it.
I can go to the mountains.
Yeah.
More than that, I'm
Right.
like with you. I'm like,
Sure.
I love them for a week or a weekend, and I'm good.
And really
Like
beautiful Airbnb, the Patty found.
Oh,
So that was
yeah.
great. But the OMMU, of course, they don't care if it's Friday afternoon
Oh, I
at
should bet.
2:30, and for implementation of the program at 9. So just to catch up, everybody, of course, the Florida Office of Medical Marijuana Use, who administrates the Florida Cannabis Program. Listen, I went up and I spoke at the news conference. I couched my words carefully, and I'll couch my words carefully again today. It was very insulting to 740,000 patients in almost a disgraceful way to have such utter disdain for essential medicine, right? And much less to the clinics, and administrators that are out here every day, staffs trying to do things right
That's
for patients, maintaining a consistent flow of education, safety, and their medicine right.
Yeah.
And it's just beyond me that 6 years. That's why I went to Tallahassee, everybody. I'm not grievance guy totally, and I'm a pretty squeaky wheel. But what I was squeaking about was, how can we be 6 years into a program, right? And got our sign yesterday, by the way. Brand new compassionate cannabis clinic sign. Look at my, it's got to be on the
I'll
page.
put it on the.
But we just signed a brand new 5-year lease. But how can we, coming up on 6 years of a program now, and still not have a legitimate advisory panel of boots on the ground doctors, research doctors, pro and con, MMTC reps, patient reps, of course, caregivers, of course, a veteran. Let's make sure we have disabled representation, minority representation. They're going to throw a lawyer on there, of course. Okay. Listen, to owner of one of the bigger business concerns, whatever it may be. But the point is, how can they not have a sounding board? Okay.
Of people that actually know it.
Of advisors that will assist them.
Well, that would be too logical, because anybody else who runs anything would actually hire the experts to consult at least.
Well, that's government in general, which is frustrating. I got to give a shout out just to back up a little bit, and we'll get back to the main topic. But listen, I saw they settled the rail strike that they think was going to happen. I see Biden's numbers creeping up now to 45% positivity. I'll be honest with you.
Because gas prices went down. That was
Gas price. I think, listen, there's being proactive and being reactive. That's why I went to Tallahassee. I'd like to be proactive, right? And
instead of us, we're always reactive because OMMU doesn't give anybody lead time.
Exactly.
At all.
To work with the OMMU, sit down with them. We've invited them to our doctors' meetings, and we'll talk about those in a moment, because what's going on around the state right now continues to be some degree of chaos. Okay.
It's chaos. And still, this is the thing, like, and we still have positions and groups that are not doing the right thing, and they're not being punished. And so the OMMU is punishing the vast majority who are doing things right for those outliers, and that those outliers, it's annoying. It really is annoying.
It is. So following the rules is essential, and we're going to continue to do that. And I think, quite frankly, it's one of the only ways that I can effectively go to Tallahassee, continue to lobby for patients, doctors, the program itself. There's so much to talk about, the whole legal adult use campaign that truly popped another $5 million into. So now they're up to $10 million, right?
Well, they figure, I guess, if they hand out enough envelopes to people, they'll get their way.
It's funny because
things happen around here.
No, it's funny. We're so scattershot this morning, but I don't mind it. It's so funny because everybody wants to know what's going to happen as we go forward with cannabis in Florida. Listen, everybody, I was just in Tallahassee, okay, and I'm pretty well attuned into what's going on. We're not going to see a legal adult use sale in the state of Florida, okay, and I'd be willing to bet anybody. I am a gambling man.
Yes,
a certain someone. Listen, my Browns kicked a 58-year-old. What a 2 weeks it's been. I got to ratchet everything back a little bit. My Guardians are in first place. Okay,
where's the Guardians?
That's my Cleveland Indians.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, they changed names. Okay.
Listen, I like to be a man of modern times. They'll always be my tribe.
Yeah.
But the Commanders, they're no more Redskins, of course. It's the Washington Commanders. Now, what's funny about that, Don? I wonder if their nickname is going to be the Commies.
Oh, God.
I mean, the Washington Commies. How has nobody else thought of that?
Yeah, seriously.
But, can you be the Washington Commies? But what a
No.
political environment we're in now, too. I mean, every Trump investigation, spiraling. So just getting back to my point, it's not like we needed anything else, OMMU, to deal with now. The world's kind of a rough, tough place in 2022.
Really
There's a lot going on. So once again, I appeal to you, please have respect for the patients, have respect for the doctors. That's my muse, just getting back to the opening of the green room. That's why I picked this topic, Don, because you know how it is. I know you look forward to where my noggin is going. So I've been to Tallahassee.
Big shout out to Don, because he always is the one who's creative behind all our advertising.
So I give him my ideas. And to me, with the top secret documents, okay? Any of which, if you would have taken, Ruta, because you have your biz, if you would end up with some top secret documents somehow,
time,
and you do, and you treat them with respect. And who can't? Who doesn't? A sociopath who's never followed the rules on anything.
Absolutely.
And we were talking about it before coming into the green room. It's our desire to follow the rules, our desire to be a beacon of how this practice should be done.
Absolutely.
And then we receive emails from our patients showing us emails from doctors who are offering to put in orders into the system without even seeing patients.
I mean, it's insane.
And the OMMU is aware of it, and so the focus is all off.
It is way off, way off.
And if you had an advisory panel who was out there talking, with you, in conjunction with you, about what the true issues are. So here's the good, the bad, and the ugly about what the OMMU did, a couple Fridays ago as I'm driving up my vacation. So it's been a couple weeks. Listen, my daughter got a legitimate job in the cannabis space. It's a great thing.
He's like,
as I said, my Guardians are in first place. My Browns kicker kicked a 58-yard field goal to win it. But it's been a pointed week. My mom's best friend, all through her adult years, passed away. I want to give a big shout out to the Migdal family up in Akron. Lived in the backyard to us. Well, that was going to be my last joke from the green room, but I'll play it now. The Queen died, of course.
Queen died.
No, that was the interesting thing about the news conference cycle in Tallahassee. We got one day. The Queen died. Okay, I think it was Thursday night or Friday.
Took over all
so then, right. So there was a great story. There is a video of the news conference. You can surely look at it. I was pretty proud of it because, you know, when you stand up in front of the press right now and you discuss the doctor, this is a great scattershot green room, and you discuss the doctor-patient relationship in the state of Florida. And let's go political a little bit. Carlos Guillermo Smith in Sarasota last night. Biggest shout out to Carlos. He's got a battle. They really redistrict. I mean, his
for those that don't know, he's a state legislator up in
District 37, actually, in Orlando.
Oh, excuse me, Orlando.
And by far and away has been one of the, if not the progressive leader in the House.
Very outspoken.
He's in a battle because if he loses, they may get a super majority, okay, in the House, okay, which would be unbelievable. Well, they do, and they have the majorities, and the gerrymandering is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right. So the political season is a political season, but here we are in Florida, and how can you get up in front of the press right now and discuss the doctor-patient relationship without seeing the insanity? And I'm still waiting for somebody to explain it to me, so in a manner that I can understand. Where you have our governor and a surgeon general with their mask views and their vax views, and you can make your choice on this and all that, and then fighting for a women's right to reproductive health care. Okay. How can that be? How does that work? How can you be for freedom and choice over here and not
no freedom and choice
over here?
And they're blanketing it, but this is
it's the hypocrisy that just makes me crazy.
But it's also the stupidity of the people. I'm sorry. When does it come down to the stupidity? Because these people are like so blindsided that they don't even see that their rights are being stripped away on a daily basis, daily in the state of Florida. And yet people, it's like I see everything. They don't see anything in front of them. And it's scary. It's very frightening. That part scares me a lot because it's like, what does it take to wake these people up to say that, you know, your freedoms are being like reprimanded and taken away and thrown in a closet?
Well, we know Roe being taken away, you know, and we know that has energized people. Will there be anything else?
It be enough? I'm really hoping that the women voters, they do a lot. When the women vote, they vote in a big block. So I'm hoping the women truly come out and stand for a Roe on both sides of the aisle. And I wanted to say bipolar.
So hang on. So Labor Day somehow happened in this period of time, right? I know.
Like, I don't know where Labor Day was.
So it's Florida. I walk in this morning to the usual fog on my glasses, okay, because it's so humid. But there is a slight hint of a little bit of the kind of coolness in the morning air in Florida, which is the only way that you know that it's football season down here. Okay. Under the leaves and this and that. Right, for sure. But it's election time. And I said to Carlos yesterday, and I hope it happens, you know, after Labor Day, of course, is when things start, major campaign season. I hope Charlie starts to roar. Okay. I don't see it. We need it. We need to energize. We need to energize every voter in the state of Florida, Democratic, Independent, those Republicans.
Still true Republicans.
I do believe they are.
There's some that are
and I know they want what we all want is honesty in government. I think. If you break it down for me and you ask me what continues to be the most offensive thing that continues to come out of that entire Trump swamp morass garbage of 4 years, you know, the guy just came out with a book out of the Justice Department, the lawyer just talked about the corruption in the Justice Department. Trump did everything in the open. He did. Right? He just went after people in the open. Michael Cohen talked about it when he was his attorney.
He's very
Brennan, I think it was, the guy who came out of the Southern District of New York, who stood the line. And now, of course, he writes a book, and now he's out there public, you know. So I get so angry when this stuff went on, and these guys didn't stand up just for us as citizens and call it what it is. And how every Republican who believes in freedom and believes in honesty, come on, nobody takes these documents back to their home.
I know what president.
No, who
ever
does
did
that?
What president ever did
And who
that?
knows what's in that information?
Well,
And how can everybody say, you know what, bud, this is the line for me?
yeah.
And you know what? I believe it, and it's scary. Okay, because listen, if Trump gets indicted, and he may, there will not be riots in the street. Will there be isolated incidents of idiocy and violence? Absolutely.
I think that would
And-
come
and-
from the Trumpsters. It's not going to come.
No,
from
that's
the
what I
other-
mean.
Yeah, it's gonna
There's
come
not going to
from
be
the
thousands of
insurrectionists.
people rioting in the street.
No.
Believe me when I tell you, there will be small incidents of nonsense, idiocy, and violence. And it's going to take our law enforcement. Thank God for them, you know, and that's the craziest thing about January 6th. It was the assault on that blue line, you know,
It
these
was the assault
officers, these
Which
Capitol
is
officers.
also-
The
here's
hypocrisy of it,
it's
it's just, it's
it's
beyond
insanity.
me. I don't get
is.
it.
I don't either. The hypocrisy.
And now defund the FBI because the FBI wants to
okay.
make a legitimate, you know, what's going on, and Trump finds a judge, and now they slow it down,
God,
and he's
it's
going to try and
insane.
time it out again. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of him.
I am
I'm sick
him.
of the lies.
Well, I'm sick of him getting away with it. Like at what?
I
point-
hope he does not get away with the Ruta. And
But he stands there.
the point I was
He
leading to is
does.
Lindsey Graham stands up and says that he's done with him, and then walks through the airport and almost gets his head chopped off in the airport.
Yeah.
So I think it's the fear of violence and the fear of people taking action against legitimate Republicans that has led to these marginal, whatever they are, candidates. And let me tell you something. I can't wait to watch the Herschel Walker hour-and-a-half debate, okay, with Raphael Warnock,
Warnock,
okay,
yeah.
who is a speaker and
Yes,
eloquent and
eloquent speaker.
educated and
Well, this
doing.
is the other
And
thing.
Herschel's going to get up there. I'm telling you, it's going to be
Oh,
very,
it's
very
gonna-
painful to watch.
It's gonna.
We
be
got the same
painful.
thing going on in Ohio, where there's a fantastic candidate, Tim Ryan, who is a moderate Democrat who's voted against the Democrats at various times in the House. And I think he's going to beat this J.D. Vance,
Yeah.
whatever they brought in from wherever,
I
who's not an
know.
Ohioan, you know, the whole bit.
It's sad.
And even here in Florida,
And we,
if
I hope
we go
Val
back to
Demings, I
your
just
women-
hope Val Demings carries Florida for us and gets that Senate seat.
of course,
I mean,
you know.
I hope so.
Can Val and Charlie, you know, can they campaign together? Can that happen? My point is this:
Well, Val
where
is kind of
where
entertaining.
is Governor Christ? And he's invited onto our show, of course. We have a few contacts, maybe we can wrangle him in. But it's been very quiet
Very
since
quiet.
Labor Day, and I want to see what's going on. I want him
Yeah.
out there every day.
But
like,
you don't see him.
you don't.
You don't hear.
I mean,
from the
maybe I'm
guy.
just
I
used
don't
to
know.
Nikki and her energy
she was
and her
high
being on,
energy,
and she
yeah,
got
she
beat
did.
up. I got it. Okay, everybody. The statement was made. But I hope somebody, and I said it to Carlos, I said, I hope
need
somebody
everything.
lights a fire
Under his
under
ass.
Charlie.
Yeah. they need
Because if
something.
not, we're going to get
We're- oh
steamrolled.
my God, we're gonna get pushed over left and right. Like
And
unless
it's
he's
going to be ugly. And it's
Yeah.
not how the citizens of Florida feel. This is not a deeply red state. It's an urban. They've gerrymandered it that way, Ruta, but you know how it is. No, it's a thin margin.
It is. If you
And-
look
and-
at-
and
if you look
Gillum,
at the poli- if
that
you
was-
go for, I think though, for presidency, it's strange. Look, I mean, for presidency, we can carry the Democratic ticket. We proved like we're close to that. And we did carry Obama one year. Like, so I think we can carry the Democratic Party on the national ticket. I think still on state, it's extremely.
Well, the gerrymandering, you know, and the whole bit. Carlos.
But you're talking like Val Demings, even she's running,
Right.
or governor, they're running
Sure.
statewide races. It's not even gerrymandered, it's the
Right.
entire state.
Well, we
That's
do.
the only good thing, but we had so many people moving into Florida. For those that are listening, like from Chicago and everywhere, you don't understand, by the thousands, especially during COVID. But the only thing is, a lot of them that moved down here are from the north, which is usually a liberal leaning, more liberal and blue leaning. The problem is the ones that moved down here tended to be more the Trump allies who didn't want the masking, didn't want mandates, didn't want that. So they were coming to the free Florida. So I think we have more of that influx actually than people.
No,
thought,
Carlos,
so,
Carlos
okay.
Guillermo Smith specifically talked school board Sarasota
school board,
yesterday.
which is made national
headlines and
tiny
news.
school board
I know.
race that should be a blurb on, like a blip on the screen, made national news because a governor. What is their agenda? I want to know, like, who's talking indoctrination? They want to go into the school systems, dismantle them, burn books, teach what they want to teach. I mean, and they're accusing the other side of indoctrination. Are you kidding me?
So you were saying you're watching the Netflix or whatever it was you're watching from the 13,
Oh yeah, I
from
was
the
watching from the
1300s. Yeah, sure.
1300s, and I'm watching this really good series called Insurrection on Netflix. Check it out. It's made in Turkey. It was really interesting.
Insurrection,
It's
interesting.
Insurrection.
Right out,
It is.
sure.
It's called Insurrection,
Yeah.
and it's all about the Crusades and in the evilness around every government, where you had the true people who were the minority but turned out to be the silent majority. And then you have like the people in power, like we were talking about. It's either sex, money, and the power that goes with it. And it plays out even to today. So, I mean, we laugh about like things that happened 700 years ago, but history repeats itself. It always has it. It always will.
Yeah. So let's go
And
back to
so-
Florida and everything
Yeah,
and medical
it's
cannabis
crazy.
just to talk
Yeah, we
power,
might,
money.
yeah.
No, it's okay. Because listen, Trulieve just came out with their second $10 million for the constitutional amendment effort. November 24, everybody, strictly for possession and usage, not home grow, not how to set it up. It allows, in fact, charges the legislature with starting to fashion the program in the 25 legislative season. You think they're going to do that in a year, everybody? You think it's going to be easy? It's funny. What I know now, Ruta, is they're going to take at least a couple of years of handing out envelopes.
They have a lot of
before-
envelopes.
they got a lot of envelopes
They
to
have
hand
a
out.
lot of envelopes to hand out during.
And that's how
September.
things happen up there.
It is.
So
We all
anybody
know it.
that thinks there's going to be any legal adult use sales in Florida before July of 26, everybody, maybe 27.
Yeah, we
And
have
I'll
years
go
to
on record as saying that right here in the green room today. It's going to be a heavily taxed system.
Oh,
We'll see about the
okay.
quality of the products. You're not going to see your MMTC is going to go away.
But
28
hopefully-
more.
Hopefully, we just get more competition because it's
28
needed.
more. The state does
Yeah.
what the state wants to do. They put the restrictions on patients to their detriment, but they don't hand out the licenses with
Licenses,
every
so we got
100,000
competition.
patients,
prices
4
go
more
down.
licenses.
Mm,
They had a
it's
judge
crazy.
down in Dade call them out for that. It was a
Good.
very busy news cycle last
Very
week,
good.
but the Queen kicked us off. Kicked
No,
us
the
off the
Queen
cycle.
kicked out
Yeah,
everybody
the
off.
Queen kicked us off. But listen, I want to say one thing about that too, as an ER doctor. And I've seen 96-year-olds that came into the ER, of course, that were greeting their family and friends 2 days before. That was the interesting thing about how the Queen passed. She
Yeah.
had greeted the prime
Prime
minister. She looked okay.
Okay, can I
She
just
looked
tell
okay.
you something? Here's another thing for the Americans listening. We have prime ministers, we have queens all over the world. Our country cannot even vote in a female president yet. What is wrong with us?
Yeah,
Hello, wake up.
that's
Seriously,
that's pretty
isn't that-
pathetic. Yeah.
I mean, they have, look at Thatcher was prime minister of England for how long? They've had queens, Queen Elizabeth, working mom, 4 children. You
And I
know,
guarantee you, if we had a
crazy.
monarchy in this country,
it would have been
they
better.
would look at this schmuck,
Oh
this
God, they would
schmuck,
have beheaded
and
him.
oh yeah, well they surely would have slapped him
Oh,
around
they
and said,
would have
"Donnie, go piss
They
over
would
there."
have. They would have beheaded him.
Well, I don't
They
know what
would
they
have.
would have
Oh,
done.
there's some characters in like the 13th century. They would have taken his head off. It was a good thing. We need
So here's the good, the bad, and the yet to be determined about how everything has come down from the OMMU. So just to catch everybody up, we used to operate under, we didn't have any formal dose cap limits. They were charged with doing it, as the OMMU likes to do. 4.5 years ago, it was in the constitutional amendment. They never implemented any numbers. They had one committee meeting. They forgot about it. The clinics have always adopted certain guidelines kind of amongst ourselves. Anyway, the state came in with their limits. The good news is, as Ruta knows,
They're
the
fine.
vast majority of our patients, because we educate our patients, we talk
some
to our
choice.
patients. Now it's a
It's
choice
choice.
to a
It's-
certain extent on a
and they
template.
love it. But the thing is, patients.
It's
like
bonded
it.
us with our patients
It
in a
has.
way that's a little bit different. We
I
never,
like it. I think it's great.
and I think the patients do, and our educators as well. We've never really had to look at a patient's orders
Yeah.
because we trust our patients to be safe. That's why I went to Tallahassee, everybody. Listen, getting involved in the doctor-patient relationship is one thing. They need to stay out of the cannabis space because it's a part of the teaching to allow patients to choose different products to find their best measures of relief. That's cultivars, types of products, ratio of THC, CBD, and the delivery means by patch, by cream, by tincture, by inhaled route, whatever it may be, all being safe. Now, I understand the state's motivation to tighten this down into the medical program that it is.
I get it.
So in the safety side and the educational side and the advocacy side, we're absolutely going to remain the clinic that we've always been, and we're going to continue to follow the state's rules. There is a form for exemption. It's not we haven't. That's the
thing. Like, I think people freaked out in the beginning, but honestly,
because of how it was done.
And how
it's like the OMMU poops it out and then they step in their own. Why? Who does that?
They do. Every single
they
time.
make their own problems, which just leads me to believe that, quite frankly, their motivation is never to be or to have been that arm of advocacy for the patient, that source of education for the patient. They weren't set up that way. Rick Scott demanded that they not be set up that way.
I truly still think deep down they don't even view it as medicine, because if they
that's the problem with the prohibitionists up there, is that
that's the biggest problem.
And that's what insults me after 6 years and 740,000 patients. But the good news is the good news. Everybody, the well-functioning, communicative, knowledgeable clinic can handle pretty much each and every patient that's coming to them on the recertifications. The state did slip in the Ruta, a very insidious rolling cap on all routes. So patients are literally going to the dispensary now, legitimate patients, and not being able to get medicine. That should never happen. And how it was presented to us is that everybody would be grandfathered in the same manner until they came back to see us. And that's not, once again, that's just a measure of poor rollout, poor communication.
I think and poor understanding. I think it's just lack of comprehension of how patients need their orders. That's all. So again, it just comes down to them not understanding what goes on in the offices, and they don't understand what the doctors are doing. So I understand. Again, the thing is, I really think they're looking for outliers every single time. They want the ones who are like prescribing like ridiculous amounts. And I remember hearing, we were watching the Florida channel, and there was a group of physicians who were conservative, and they were listening to some of the dosing that was out there, and all of them were like, why are a few of these doctors just like recommending insane amounts to patients, where they're like, how much is that, like, on a daily basis? And they were like, it was, and then they took the norm and the average, and it was so far. But instead of punishing those outliers of way out there, they or
those doing telehealth certifications,
or telehealth illegally,
I mean, there are certain things that are so easy for them to make a statement about, and they don't. And that's why, and once again, referring to the, the green screen, that's why, listen, there's no secrets here, OMMU. Come to our clinic, see what's up. We got a big sign out. We got a big sign out there now.
Like with the big
Which is great. So the good is the good. The good is the good. It's affecting very, very, very few patients. The bad is the RFE. The form for the request for exemption. Boy, it's so hard to figure out. Request for exemption, RFE. State did that. Yeah, they're so smart up there.
They're so smart.
But the forms are really poorly worded. It opens the doctors up to a misdemeanor one, patient misdemeanor one. They can pull and request medical records. There's no appeals process. If you're denied, and we believe it's probably going to be a typical OMMU nonsensical rubber stamp, but it's needless and it's unnecessary, and it's put scrutiny on the practices. So we're going to be very cautious. We're going to watch and take care of our patients as we always have been.
We've never had a problem. We always do the right
as
thing.
we try to follow the rules. The yet to be seen is what comes next from the OMMU. Let's hope they go positive and start to release the new licenses, get that process system going, set up the panel, of which we're going to make a formal request from our doctors group that meets on every other Wednesday. There's a caregivers group now, actually, that they're starting. That our staff, I don't know if any of the guys went to last night's meeting, and I'll have to ask them. So yeah, listen, it's important to stay organized in the state as we go forward towards legal adult use, whatever that looks like. medical's going to have to continue to be strong, vibrant, passionate. Going to Tallahassee. We'll be there again this year for our agendas of job protections in the workplace, right? For sure. This is a federal thing, but we got to make sure our access to hospitals and nursing homes and things of that nature, right? For sure. Home grow is an issue that, of course, will never be addressed in the legislature. You're going to see a second measure, though, that'll be financed. Here's the one measure for legal adult use. The home grow is going to be financed down here. That's going to get lost. So, but there's a ton of issues in Florida, and you can count on, us to be leaders as we go forward, in the means that we always do. But
and for Ukraine, shout
no,
out,
I know, no.
out, Slava Ukraine.
No, that's such an exciting thing, because when I saw the one video of the son coming home and hugging literally his mom. And that's why the Ukrainians will prevail because they're fighting for their country.
And now there's a huge conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan. I'm like, God, I hope we don't start pulling Russia into.
Well, who knows what we'll have to talk about next week.
I know.
But it's good to be back physically.
Long live the king for England.
For sure. No, and I want to thank our staff. I really want to thank our staff for what they did do throughout this period of time. Still there every day. Really, and we have clinics reach out to us literally every day.
They do, because they don't know what's going on, so they want us to figure it out.
And we're happy to help. We just wish the OMMU would get rid of this attitude and open things up a little bit. No more secrecy.
No more secrecy.
We'll see you next week in the green room.